Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us today on our podcast for the Carbon Capture and Storage Summit. Joining me today is Aaron Hood. He's the CFO at Summit Carbon Solutions. And we also have Danielle Piekarski, who is our managing editor for Carbon Capture Magazine. So thanks for joining us, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So Aaron, you're going to be speaking at the Carbon Capture and Storage Summit, which is going to be on Monday, June 13th. It's a pre-conference at the FEW. So we're excited to have you. I know Danielle's got some questions here to kind of talk about what we're going to be expecting, during your discussion and some of the things that will be discussed during the summit. So Danielle.
All right, Aaron, could you just start with giving us a little bit of a preview of what Summit Carbon Solutions does, what you do, and what you will be speaking about at the conference?
Yeah, sure. So Summit Carbon Solutions is a company that is developing and constructing the largest carbon capture project in the world. Our business is to gather carbon dioxide from ethanol producers primarily throughout the upper Midwest in Iowa, Nebraska, Southwest Minnesota, South Dakota, North Dakota. And so we capture the CO2 from the ethanol plants, compress it, put it in a transportation pipeline storage network and take it to North Dakota where we will permanently sequester it deep underground in geological formations which are suitable for permanent carbon capture and removal. So we've been working on this now with Summit Agriculture is our sponsor. They're based in Alden, Iowa, and we're based in Ames, Iowa. And so we're on the ground here in the area of the operations of our project. And we've been, we're full steam ahead on the execution of the project, including the development of the capture facilities, the pipeline, permitting, right-of-way acquisition, and all the things that are involved in making this thing happen.
Excellent.
Awesome. And then I see that you will be speaking on carbon capture tax policy. How is this tax credit important to the funding of a project as big as Summit Carbon Solutions pipeline project?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that the sort of the tax and regulatory policy around carbon capture and storage is developing very rapidly. And the foundation of that development began with the clarification and growth of the 45Q, what's called the 45Q tax credit, which provides a 12-year tax credit of about $50 a ton, we'll call it, just to use round numbers, for each ton of CO2 that's permanently sequestered, and then a lower tax credit if you use your CO2 for what's called enhanced oil recovery. Our project is focused exclusively on permanent storage. So that tax credit really forms the basis for being able to raise and employ the capital. Our project is about a 10 to 12 million ton per year project. But the total cost of the project is about $4.5 billion. So, for a $4.5 billion project, you have to have some basis for earning a return and recovering that capital for both equity investors and debt investors in the project. And so the 45Q tax credit, along with the enhanced value of the ethanol that captures its carbon, as well as the voluntary carbon markets for these high quality removal credits, form the economic basis for being able to build and construct and generate revenue for the project.
Awesome. So I know that Summit Carbon, the project has partnered with over 30 ethanol plants in the Midwest. And what does the 45Q carbon credit mean for those ethanol facilities or other ethanol facilities that are interested in entering the carbon capture, utilization, and storage industry?
Well, I think that first and foremost, agriculture, along with every other industry, needs to figure out how it can lower its carbon footprint. It can figure out how they need to figure out how they can lower the carbon footprint of agriculture generally. And so what capturing carbon means for an ethanol plant is that it dramatically lowers the carbon intensity of the process of making ethanol. And in that process, in markets like California, Oregon, Washington, Canada that have low carbon fuel markets, it enhances the value of their ethanol by making that ethanol have much less carbon intensity. So CI score reduction is a proxy for the decarbonization of ethanol. And ethanol today represents the ethanol industry buys about 40% of the corn produced in the U.S. and in many of the states in our network, it's even up to 50 and above 50 in some cases. So I think it's really important for the long-term sustainability of the ethanol industry and for agriculture in general. And I think that's that was the basis for the creation of this business by the Summit Agricultural team, who are deeply involved in agriculture investing and agriculture throughout the Midwest.
Very interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
so-
and I know this is going to be a hot topic, obviously, at the FEW, at the International Fuel Ethanol Workshop. And carbon capture is one of those things that, we see in Ethanol Producer Magazine. And that's really why we felt we need to make this its own event. And so we're very happy that Summit Carbon Solutions is involved. Again, we're chatting with Aaron Hood. He's the CFO of Summit Carbon Solutions. He'll be speaking Monday, June 13th at the Carbon Capture and Storage Summit. His panel is called "The Work Underway to Ensure Federal and State Policy Are Ready When Carbon Capture and Storage Comes of Age." And he'll be talking about carbon capture tax policy, specifically on that topic. So again, we appreciate you being here, Aaron, and I know we want to finish off with one more question here.
Yeah, we have a fun question for you to close things out. So I saw in your bio that you served in the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and held leadership roles in different countries during your service. And I'm curious to know what your favorite place that you have worked in is.
Ooh, getting into the personal.
Well, I spent a little over 3 years of my 5 years of Army service stationed in Europe. I was originally stationed in Germany and then spent all of 1996 and half of 1997 peacekeeping in Bosnia and various other places around the Balkans. And so I think that was a beautiful and amazing place to be. A little different when you're deployed peacekeeping somewhere than going on vacation there, certainly. But I love being in Germany, and I loved being all around Europe. And being in Germany, you're kind of in the middle. So when we weren't deployed or training, we certainly took the opportunity to travel pretty extensively. And for a young kid born on a farm that hadn't been very far in life, it was certainly a eye-opening and maturing experience for me to be able to go out and go skiing in Switzerland and Austria and go and visit the Eastern Europe and Germany and France. And, we spent a lot of time going to, military cemeteries from World War I and World War II in France. And so it was just a really good opportunity as a young person to be able to get out and see totally different parts of the world than I would have, growing up as a blue collar kid from the Midwest. So I think that was a real blessing for me.
Great
answer.
Great.
Thank you.
All right. Again, we appreciate you being with us today. We look forward to hearing more about your presentation, more about this topic, and just getting to meet with you face to face at the summit. So thanks again. We appreciate you being with us today.
Thank you, Aaron.
You bet. I'm excited. You bet. I'm excited to be there and look forward to talking in more detail about all these topics.
Thank you.